All right, so here's a few more things to know. Yara is a famous tool to check sort of like an intrusion response system, intrusion detection system, and it's like Snort. So it looks for patterns of text, strings of some sort, and you can put binary patterns too. So it just checks to see if it detects this pattern anywhere. So here you can just look for anything containing evil. And then if you create a file containing good and a file containing evil, it will trigger on the one containing evil. And then I got a file called Minesweeper. That's a version of a game I made for a CTF or something. And you can download that thing and you can get a Yara rule that will detect executable files and packers. And it will, when you scan it, it will find some things in there it doesn't like it tells you if it's got a Windows GUI, if it's a PE32. It detects what type of file it is quite a few ways. Not that this file is malicious, but it is a simple way to do an analysis on a file. And it does all this just by looking for patterns in the file, headers and footers and so on. And here's another file that has some files containing evil. Here's ones that will contain 3 bytes of 04 in a row. So you have to figure out how to use binary or numerical codes instead of printable ASCII characters. And then you can look for patterns like this: a byte of 4, 3 to 6 bytes, a byte of 5, 3 to 6 bytes, a byte of 6. You can just practice creating and using some Yara rules there. All right. And then there's Prefetch, which is a useful thing on Windows clients, although not on Windows servers. Windows servers are intended to be booted up and then left up for a long time, so you're not constantly restarting them. So this feature is turned off by default, although you can turn it on just to practice with it. On clients, it's turned on, and the point of the Prefetch folder is it remembers what applications you have been using recently, so that when you next boot up, it can preload those applications in RAM to make them launch more quickly. And like most Microsoft features for convenience, it leaves a forensic trail that makes it easy for people to see what you've been doing. Microsoft Windows is not intentionally designed to be spyware, but it acts as spyware by keeping many records of everything you do in the registry and the temporary internet files and all over the place. So one thing I have students ask me frequently is I did something on this machine and I don't want to leave a trail behind. And I say, man, you're toast. Unless you flatten the whole hard drive, there's essentially no way to conceal what you've been doing on a Windows machine if someone can analyze the hard drive. But anyway, so the Prefetch folder is one of the many places where that is. On a server, it's empty by default, and you have to make a registry key adjustment to turn it on. But after you do, it will just have a list of the last files that have been launched on that machine. And I think it's got the most recent 128 files or something like that. And you can view these, the names of files here, and have these Prefetch files with the PF file extension, but it turns out that they're in some kind of goofy, irritating, proprietary binary format. So to unwrap them, it's nice to use a tool, and I found this tool called PE command, which does unpack it nicely, but for some irritating reason, it doesn't put out the output in a very friendly way. You can make it a CSV value, but then it's a little hard to read. So I found the coolest thing to do is get OpenOffice. If you have Excel, that would be fine too. Then you can view it in a spreadsheet. And now you get a nice list of when it was created, when it was modified, accessed, the executable name. You get a nice chart of all the things people have been doing on that machine. All right, and then you can find a couple of flags in that just to show that you've got it going. So those are another couple useful tools to see what's been happening on machines.